Jujutsu Kaisen's editor has just confirmed that the Gojo vs Sukuna fight is actually reaching its climax. Now, whether this means that it's ending in 1 or 2 chapters or 3 or 4 chapters, at the very least, I think that means that what we're going to get next chapter is going to be absolutely crazy, especially because, you know, climax means the biggest part of the fight. And it's for this reason that I think whatever that we haven't seen from both of them, that we are probably going to get it with the chapter coming out in 2 days. Now, whether it's a new technique from Gojo, maybe a maximum from either of them, Sukuna pulling out the 10 shadows, or Sukuna even using his reversal of curse technique for either of his curse techniques, I just really think that this next chapter is going to be wild. So today let's talk about the predictions for JJK chapter 227. And hey, if you're a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I got a ton of videos like power scaling theory, analysis, and a lot of spoiler videos too, including a spoiler breakdown for the next chapter that's coming out on Wednesday, and also a spoiler live stream talking about it too with the fake weeb. So if you're a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, you definitely won't regret it. And of course, thank you to the Honored One and special members of the channel, Is Kaisen and that guy Trey. Thank you guys very much. Alright, so I know the fight has been actually pretty standard so far, but just considering Gege's editor's comments, you know, maybe it really is just hyping up the next chapter. I'm just a victim to this. But I mean, it does make sense since I think half of the fight is finished, so whatever we're getting in the next half should be pretty crazy. And if we're ever gonna see whatever else Sukuna and Gojo has, it has to be the next chapter. Like, this is the climax of the editor set. If they don't pull it out now, then they just don't have it, which is also a possibility too, you know. Now, as for where I think the next chapter is gonna start, I think there's either 2 possibilities. One, Gojo just fires a hollow purple right at Sukuna and the shrine, basically destroying the shrine, the box, or 2, he just teleports out of the domain. Since now that his curse technique has replenished, there's no reason for him to stay in shrine, because even with his limitless neutral barrier back, that still gets bypassed by Sukuna's malevolent shrine. So yeah, he either takes out the big shrine box, or he just logically teleports out. I mean, I don't see why not now that he's got his teleportation back, and we've seen he can teleport across cities and even the country instantly. It's well within the realm of possibility, and it's also the simple choice, which is usually the way Gege actually goes. Now, what's gonna happen for the rest of the chapters, I see that I think both of them are actually gonna pull out their best techniques now that the domains haven't actually worked. Now, whether for Gojo this is, you know, whatever the colors he has, like the orange, green, yellow, I don't know, pink, maybe the maximum rainbow or the max white or max black, whatever it is, he's gonna pull it out if he even has anything. You know, it's always possible he doesn't, which would be very boring, but it is what it is. At least for Sukuna, there definitely is something that we haven't seen, and that's the reversal of his curse technique. Now, I've seen a lot of theories on what it could be for cleaving this mantle. Maybe it's actually, instead of slashing things, it rejoins them or kind of pulls them together. So let's say it hits Gojo, it actually pulls his body together and fuses it rather than splitting it in half. And then it's a question of, could Gojo even heal that reverse curse technique, something crazy like that? But what's even more interesting is the technique that he hasn't even pulled out yet, the 10 shadows, Mahoroga, and everything that comes with that. Now, obviously, the reason this is interesting is because, you know, Mahoroga, absolute beast, can adapt to anything, and it would be a 2v1 as well, so maybe he'd pull that out. I mean, a lot of people are questioning why he hasn't brought out Mahoroga yet, or even the 10 shadows in general, and the reason I think it is because I think the way Sukuna is seeing this is that if he brings out the 10 shadows, it means he loses. Because it would mean that Sukuna back in the day, say during the Heian era, wouldn't have been able to beat Gojo had he not had the 10 shadows. Which is also true, you know, for the sake of my agendas, you know, I'm on the Gojo train. If Sukuna does need the 10 shadows, then all I'm saying is Sukuna wouldn't have been able to beat Gojo with just his shrine, or whatever else his shrine has. Maybe actually this next chapter we'll see the rest of his shrine. If that doesn't work, he'll pull out the 10 shadows, so that could always be the case. Where in Gege's previous manga, which is called Number 9, the main character of that manga, his technique is literally shrine. It's the same kanji, it's the same box, it's the same everything. And what the technique does, which I'll be showing on the screen, is it actually just summons weapons straight out of space. So maybe Sukuna's shrine is this. I mean, it would make sense since Sukuna summons the fire and he uses the fire like it's a bow and arrow as well, the way he aims and fires it. So maybe he has like an electric sword, poison shield, or I don't know, something crazy like that would be really cool. But if all of this isn't enough and he has to bring that 10 shadows, you know, in my own agenda's sake, I'm just saying that would mean Heian era Sukuna wouldn't have been able to beat Gojo, and he's a 10 shadows merchant, you know. He's not being those I need OP techniques allegations. You know, a Mahoroga one-hit wonder, it is what it is. Alright, enough trolling though, I'm just having a bit of fun of it. It is always fun to push those agendas, and I will be saying that, so if Sukuna does need the 10 shadows, and I wouldn't mind Gojo losing in that way, because, you know, it would mean at the very least maybe Heian era Sukuna wouldn't have been able to beat Gojo if he does actually need 10 shadows. Alright, but agendas aside, and not to trigger a flame war, which is probably already started in the comments, if he does pull out the 10 shadows, I do see him possibly using the reversal of curse technique, since I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do this if Kenjaku and Gojo could and he can't for some reason. I mean, maybe it really would just be too powerful and Gege's just not going to give it to him, but if he does, remember, the 10 shadows technique isn't just a summoning technique. I mean, that's its main utility, but it's actually a technique where you can control shadows. So you've seen many times where Megami can enter his own shadow and enter other people's shadows, and even manipulate the shape of his shadow. So the actual foundation of the technique is the manipulation of shadows, but within the shadows he can actually summon Shikigami that come out of them. That's where the whole summoning technique comes from. Alright, now the thing is, the way a reversal of curse technique works, it's really debated on how far it would go. Since say with Gojo's, his curse technique itself is a manipulation of space, but it's not like the reversal of his curse technique gives him time manipulation, which should be the reverse of space, or anti-space, maybe something like that, but it seems to actually be on the curse technique specifically. So for example, rather than actually actually reversing his actual curse ability. It's just reversing a specific technique. So in the Blue's case, which is the ability to attract, it now becomes the ability to repel. But the interesting thing is in Kenjaku's case, where his ability is actually gravity, it completely flips it on its head and gives you anti-gravity, the complete opposite of the entire curse technique. I should actually catch myself. It's anti-gravity, which is the curse technique, and the gravity is the reversal of curse technique. So what this means is that there's actually two possibilities in the way this could go. And the way I actually see it is the way that Gege wants it to go. So if he wants it to follow Kenjaku's rules, it would. If he wants it to follow Gojo's rules, it would. Either Sukuna, when he uses the reversal of curse technique for the 10 shadows, it's either going to perhaps be the opposite of a summoning technique, and he can actually seal people in the shadows. So this would be the reversal of specifically the summoning ability of the 10 shadows. So you could seal Gojo permanently within the shadows, and Gojo might not have a way out. And as we saw with Reggie, you can't even breathe within the shadows. Though this should be fine since Gojo's neutral limitless would actually still allow him to breathe and not let the water drown him, or whatever that liquid is in the 10 shadows. But if it follows the route that Kenjaku's does and Sukuna reverses the entire cursed ability itself, then he would actually get the ability to control light. And this would be absolutely insane if he does. I mean, light manipulation is one of the most powerful abilities in any sort of fictional story. It's always amongst the top tiers, right? It gives you immense speed, incredible destructive capabilities, and a whole variety of hacks as well. And it's possible that Sukuna didn't have this at first, but remember, a month has passed and he's had a month to, settle down and simmer with the 10 shadows, and he also had the bath before the month of break, so he could have definitely accustomed to the technique, learned some new abilities with it, and then also maybe developed his reversal of curse technique for it, since again, it's Ryomen Sukuna. It'd be really weird if he didn't have it and then Kenjaku does and Gojo does. But Gege could go the route where he actually just does something completely new, where it's sort of like a combination of what Kenjaku does and what Gojo does. So it'd be a reversal of the entire concept, but then you could either apply this to the technique or reverse the technique while the concept is also reversed. Okay, so to explain what I mean is, let's say it reverses the concept and it just uses the technique regularly, then you could actually summon the 10 Shikigami, but possibly actually the light variants, not the shadow variants. Now this could be the same Shikigami but with light abilities, or it could actually just be a whole new set of 10 Shikigamis that you summon from the light this time, not from the shadows, which would be really, really cool. I can't lie. Imagine it could be a whole variety of things. I mean, maybe a light dragon or something really cool. Or it's possible that it's both the technique and the concept, so it's a light-based ability, but then he also can seal people within the light, which would be pretty interesting. So the actual technique is shadows which summon things, but then the reverse of it is light that seals things. But I mean, regardless, all of it's really, really cool. But just to go back on Gojo real quick as well, I mean, the only two techniques he has is the neutral and the red, and then of course the reverse of red, which is blue, and then combining the two to make hollow purple. It really would be weird if that's all he actually has, since I don't see how he would actually defeat Sukuna if this is the case. So it's for that reason that I do think he's going to pull something else out that we haven't seen before. Now, as for who I think is going to be on top of this chapter, I actually think the chapter is going to start off with Gojo looking really good in the first half, or in the first couple pages, but I think it's going to end with Sukuna being on top, since it seems to be the case where every chapter ends with either Sukuna's got the advantage or Gojo's on top, whichever one, for the agenda's sake. I think since we just had Gojo, it's probably going to end with Sukuna being on top next time. So, Gojo fans, we've had our fun for the last 2 weeks, we've mocked everyone. So, it's going to be a rough week if Gojo's down. I mean, if Gojo loses, which again, the editor did say it's the climax, that would be kind of crazy, but I do think Gojo's going to be on the disadvantage when the chapter ends. But I do think next chapter won't end it, and Sukuna fans will have a week to go crazy, which it's really fun, I can't lie. As toxic as it's been, it's actually been really fun to be a part of this whole experience, where Sukuna fans and Gojo fans at each other's necks so much, but it really is just such a crazy event and movement where the fan base is so split and so passionate on this whole topic of Gojo and Sukuna, and it's actually really nice seeing one character be on top for a chapter, and then the other side of the fan base is in complete copia mode, and one side is trolling, and then obviously next week it flips on its head. This is just super unique. Even for me, it's really crazy. But what do you think is going to happen in the next chapter? Let me know in the comments down below, and hey, if you enjoyed this prediction video, be sure to leave a like, it really does help out, and be sure to subscribe for more JJK content, especially the spoiler video, which is going to be coming out on Wednesday in 2 days, and again, a live stream on the chapter coming out on Thursday with the fake weeb too. And of course, I have a lot of other JJK content too, like analysis, theories, power scaling. That's a big one. So if you love JJK, you're going to love this channel. And of course, thank you to all the channel members as well. You guys really help out. If you see your name on the screen, you're an absolute legend. Thank you very much. And that's pretty much all from me. Have a great day and take care, guys. See ya.